Back in 2019, I made a video defending a user by the name of Antoons for his survival defeatist game from a user named Daniel T Gaming who was overreacting about said game. That video gained some traction over the years and a 54 comment flame war about the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. And now it's 2020, fast forward to July, and Antoons starts making edgy comics on Twitter, along with his animation content slowing down and the smell of villainization getting rampant in the air. I hate having to become the man of reason again, but trust me, this video is not for just defending Antoons. I have my own criticisms on him too and what he's done in this situation. This is just to discuss the drama, the stupid shit in it, and what I think Antoons could do to improve himself. Well, if he is willing to listen at this point. Let's get into the video, shall we? Play the intro! Part 1, Antoons and his tracing dilemma. Let's get into the first and maybe the shortest bit of what Antoons has done next to his comics on Twitter. The really noticeable tracing that he does in his parody videos. If you want my bits on tracing, I do not think it is good for art or animation alone, but for understanding a specific art style and trying to replicate it, that's fine by me. Where Antoons' tracing is mostly prominent is in his deathbed videos where he traces a lot of cartoon characters. Examples on things he has traced is Powerpuff Girls, Rick and Morty, and Sonic the Hedgehog, etc, cartoon content in general. Recently, Antoons has been under fire for his YouTube convention crossover, where in the first bit he traced a lot of characters from other YouTube content creators. Jacob Lenstar, Cat Ghost, Edgeworlds, Amkid, you name it, there was a lot of people there that he traced over. And unlike the deathbed videos, which have more movement, they were mostly just copied over frames or still images. And only one person was credited in the description. Even though everybody is skimming over what Antoons did in his video, where he credited everybody in the video's credits section. I'm not mad that Trace worked, the video itself is a crossover, I understand what he's going for, clashing styles, go figure. What I think Antoons could have done is at least make the characters more fluent in their animation, other than just being still or moving their mouths and being still. That's like Family Guy level of quality there, dude. He also could have credited the sources that he modeled off in the description as well, linking to the YouTube channels of said content creators that he, well, used for his crossover video, but that's all I gotta say there. Now let me repeat myself. Tracing can be useful for understanding an art style, but I don't really think Antoons should rely on it. Maybe next time you can do some like practice animation to try and understand how these characters move and function in their own art style, and maybe less people could have gotten mad at that. Tracing over frames is not going to help either. That's just going to make it more of a crutch. If Antoons was tracing in his original content, then I would be on the side of people getting upset about tracing, because, well, that's the original content. You can't credit yourself when you're using someone else's work. But now let's move on to the next segment. Part 2, the comic dilemma. A lot of people have been butchering Antoons' comics as of late, and that's possibly due to how he delivers his messages at times, and he's been declared a diet stone toss because of this. If you don't know who Stone Toss is, then congratulations, you possibly actually have a life outside the internet. If you want to know who Stone Toss is, he's an edgy comic strip creator who's been mostly known for, well, making over-the-top and edgy jokes, such as,
haha, gay people can't adopt, their child is a little wad of shit. George Floyd killed himself.
also Holocaust denial. Okay, this video isn't about Stone Toss, let's stop talking about him, get back to the point. My bits on these comics is that the messages are really over the top and blunt at times. I understand what you're going for, but this over the top imagery is kind of masking your message, dude. The internet can fuck with a kid's mind and do a lot of things to their brain. Maybe you should have put it a bit where parents should moderate their kids on the internet. People bending over backwards for the BLM movement when in the end we just want a better police force. And parents literally brainwashing their children into becoming clout husks for their own benefit. Do not get me started with the horrifying reality that is drag kids. Ugh. And as of other content, like the infamous George Floyd one, I can't stand with you here. What are you mocking here? The CO2 thing with breathing masks or George Floyd's death in general? I know George Floyd wasn't that good of a person and had some past charges on him, but that still doesn't excuse what happened to him that day. Police are not executioners. They should have just incapacitated and cuffed him and called it a day. And the unclarity of this luck versus choice comic. Last time I checked, that children with single parents are likely to grow up in a lesser financial environment, and that might lead to them to do crime when they grow up. There are a lot of studies on that kind of stuff. Look it up. Also, the trans suicide jokes. Yeah, I don't need to explain it. That's just low taste. Okay, before I go on rambling, it's time to rail on Antoons now, while also going about the numbskulls who won't let this fucking shit die out. Part 3. Antoons versus Puppy-chan. Just take your L already and move on. You know, for someone who's critical about social media and technology, you really don't know when to get off it. For context, Antoons reposted Puppy-chan's comic on trans people and deeming it non-realistic on how old people view trans people.
An old man accepting his grandson as his granddaughter? Blasphemy!
After some petty Twitter fighting about this shit with the two users, Antoons eventually asked Puppy-chan about their biological gender, which is a huge red flag coming from a 31-year-old man talking to a 17-year-old trans person. After this, Puppy-chan's fans came after to defend her while simultaneously clowning on Antoons by either memeing on him or going into his DMs and literally spamming the hell out of him, which led to Antoons privating his account for like 2 days at least, and vice versa happened to Puppy-chan with a bunch of Antoons fans coming to harass her as well. And for 3 days, anger, frustration, and misinformation were in the air. Eventually, Puppy dismissed the Antoons drama and just moved on with their life, but as for Antoons, they couldn't let it sit. Reposting their face, reposting videos criticizing him, he just kept on digging his hole. Annie, look, I know it's been really rough on you for the past week with you getting fired from your teaching job and this whole entire drama shitstorm, but please, for the sake of your own sanity, just drop this drama and move on in your life and maybe take a break from this whole entire Twitter nonsense. All you're doing here is just bringing yourself down a downward spiral, and for someone who likes your content, I don't want to see someone who's shown to have a lot of talent just get thrown in the trash and grouped up with a bunch of edgy comic book creators. I am not excusing your actions, Annie. What you have done is scummy, and I know you're not going to say sorry, but can you at least calm down already? You are a 31-year-old man, and I'm an 18-year-old young adult. Please stop acting my age. You are embarrassing me. As for the people DMing Annie and Puppy about this shit and just keeping the wildfire going, just cut the fuck out already. Spamming both of their DM feeds is not going to make any change happen. It's just getting childish at this point. You can make critical videos about Antoons, but for the love of God, don't try to act like a hero when you do this in his DMs. Hey, Crow, if you're watching this video, congratulations. You're an absolute clap chaser and you've shown how mature you are in this situation.
Elsa Geek.
Well, that wraps it up for this video. Annie, please, for the love of God, just think where you're going with this shit. You have already said you are respectful to trans people and minorities in Daftpina's video. Just all I'm asking is live up to your words, please. Now, excuse me, I'm gonna take a long nap.